Surprisingly to no one should be shocked by what came of this announcement. I am a very, very big believer that the whole reason for this initial announcement in the first place was because of that tri-election, because they just managed to hold on in Uxbridge by being, launching an anti-ULEZ campaign. Now thinking, well, how can we maybe replicate that to the rest of the UK? Because there was no way on this God's green earth that they were ever going to win a general election or at least maintain somewhat of a sizable majority to be a effective opposition to run solely on ULEZ. You are just talking about outer London. That is not enough seats to be able to win a general election. So instead, Sunak has now had to turn his attention to how could we maybe change this so that it's all the UK involved in this. What really goes on here, most specifically, is this push by those anti-net zero Tories, by the net zero scrutiny group, to go, you need to run an anti-green general election promise, because then we can go, look at all these promises, these green net zero things that are being promised by Labour. In reality, all that's going to do is make you poorer. Meanwhile, the reality is, landlords no longer have to do insulation for their homes, for their residents, when we have some of the worst rental properties in history at this moment in time. And there are a ton of studies out there just showing you how bad this rental stock that is offered by landlords really is. And it is then left up to the renter to have to pay for excess heating, and they can't even do a thing about it because the landlord just will not let them do the type of things necessarily needed to do that. And why would you? We've talked about the problem before, that the average rent period for someone in the UK is about 2 to 3 years. When you look at Europe, it's about 10. Big changes need to be made in the rental sector, but that's a video for another time. But this has been the charge leveled at them, that Rishi Sunak and the Tories are only doing this because they somehow see it as a easy, quick win, that they can somehow maybe replicate that success that they had in Uxbridge, so maybe they can just eke out a win in other areas. And that's certainly their hope. And I was going today to do, once again, the bizarre cope that is coming from local councillors, once again, from Rotherham, saying, oh, look, aren't we good? Aren't we good? But then all the polls, you look at them, yeah, they don't really put you on course to win. Not only that, the people who have local councillors in Rotherham now talking about the fact that their Conservative local councillors are absolutely awful, wanting to do nothing but cut spending, when the local Rotherham Council has been asked continuously and had its budgets cut continuously, and yet those Conservative councillors calling for, oh, we want investment, but then your national Conservative won't do it. And yeah, again, another video for another time. But lo and behold, who should emerge being the champion all of a sudden of green policies but Boris Johnson? Yes, Boris Johnson has ridden out, not only in the Daily Mail, but on social media, and publicly calling on Rishi Sunak to reverse his green policy U-turn. And my only shock is this. Boris Johnson was the former Prime Minister at this point. He could have passed laws ensuring that this stuff, that this insulation, that these regulations, that these projects were properly funded, done, and in place, ready to go. But he didn't. Rishi Sunak was his chancellor. Rishi Sunak took every single opportunity to slash those budgets whenever he could, but Remember, the buck stopped with Boris Johnson, as he used to say, with Partygate, until, of course, it didn't, and it didn't apply to him, and etc., etc. But this is where Boris Johnson is now, being a Green Tory on the outside, just deciding to pull out his, chaos grenade, pull the pin, and just throw it over the garden wall and just see what chaos emerges. I have to wonder if next week, or at least over the course of this weekend, whether we start to hear rumors of the Green Tories actually getting together to force Sunak into a U-turn on these policies. It would not shock me. It would not shock me if that happened. I'm keeping an eye on Conservative Home. They've already trashed him, Sunak, for U-turning on these green policies. So that is an interesting sign. But so far, all very quiet. But this is what normally happens if there is to be a proper, revolt, shall we say, against Sunak over these policies. Then it needs to be organized. And like I say, keep your eyes especially peeled on Chris Skidmore and, of course, Grant Shapps in particular. Those are two very, very pro net zero Tories in the past. Whether they will be the ones to lead this, I don't know. We'll see, but keep your eye on them. See what they say, because if they are involved in a rebellion, then they are certainly going to be very much trying to push Sunak into a reversal of these policies. But keep your eye out for anyone else who starts to talk over the weekend about trying to say, hey, Rishi, you should reverse this. And then start to see how many other Tories start to sing out that same message of, you need to reverse these policies. You need to reverse this. This is a massive open goal for Labour, because all these net zero green policies are a massive benefit to the UK and will bring in huge benefits to ordinary people's lives. It's just such an open goal, the fact that Sunak has decided not to do this. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Will there be a U-turn? Well, it depends on the response from the Green Tories. Unfortunately, in the past, they have been very, very fragmented and not actually managed to coalesce into an actual group to make a, change in government. But we'll see what happens there. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.